Bitcoin is pushing into the $66,700 level, which was our price target from a couple of days ago. So in today's show, we're going to assess what the probability is of whether bulls are going to reclaim that key level, or if we're going to see a rejection. As it currently stands, Bitcoin is still very range bound on the high time frame, but there is the slight etchings or small chance that this trend could be reversing and moving back towards the upside. So we'll have a look at that and a whole lot more in today's show. Make sure that you smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. And I thought I'll open up with this tweet over here just to give you a bit of a perspective of where we are within the cycle. It's from Mike Alfred. He says the halving is complete. As you guys would know, that was completed about a week ago. GBTC outflows are now at a trickle, and consequently, you're seeing the ETF flows go positive due to the trickle of the GBTC. Hong Kong ETFs will be live at the end of April. US wirehouses live in May. And then we have M2 liquidity, which could be boosting or creating a liquidity injection into the market. We have tax season selling, which is over. We've shown that chart probably about 2 weeks ago. The result of what happens following the US tax season is usually where, following the post-halving cycle as well, prices start to move upwards. And he says nations are secretly buying. Of course, that's pure speculation. We're still waiting for concrete data on that. And if it lines up timing-wise that announcement comes out 12 months from now, you can expect that is probably going to become a sell the news event when they announce that nation states other than El Salvador have been buying Bitcoin. And then he says, and most traditional investors are still hating on the asset class, and it's the best setup of all time. And this is the result, right? You're seeing those ETF flows turn positive once again as the GBTC trickle slows down, which you can see over here. Look at the massive change in the net outflows that have happened from GBTC. That is slowing drastically, which is allowing for the possibility for bulls to reverse the trend back to the upside, moving from what was a prior ranging market into possibly an uptrending market. And the Bitfinex whales keep spot buying pretty aggressively. You can see over here from this is from Coinalyze.com over there with big increases in the buying. We've also had a reset over here in the fear and greed index, but it could still potentially go a little bit lower. You can look at the Bitcoin price over here. We were able to successfully buy aggressively into this region, identifying that this was going to be a major bottom as price was coming into this zone over here in the region of $17,000, while fear and greed was all the way at the bottom, and we slowly started to grind onwards and upwards. And now you can see over here, if you look at this trend line, we're creating a pretty aggressive uptrend. Now, if there is a pullback and the fear and greed does fully reset back to those low levels at about 20 to 21, currently we're situated over here at about 52. If it does set all the way down into the 20 zone, that could bring price potentially still into the $52,000 region. So do keep that level in the back of your mind's eye. As it currently stands, I'll give you all the pivot levels. Bulls have a chance, but if we reject from this key level that we're at today, which is that $66,700 to about $67,000 level, then expect that a bit more fear may come into the market. So before we continue, before we go into the rest of the charts, please guys do me a massive favor, smash the like button. I am back now from Dubai, so hopefully we have a lot more focus. You can see we're not in the hotel room background anymore, but back in the studio. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We are one of the fastest growing channels that are out there, and let's get into it. So anytime that you see extreme negative on the funding, the open interest is reset, the funding rate of reset, this becomes a buy the dip scenario, which is what we're seeing. And unbelievably, you're actually being paid to be long on most of the cryptos right now because the funding rates went negative. And that is a positive sign in a bull market, right? There it is. You can see over here. I'm not gonna go all the way back through the whole history, but historically, anytime you see the funding go negative over here is a good sign. And this has marked the major bottoms, right? This was when Bitcoin was around $15,000. This one over here was at $19,200. The USDCD peg, you had that big negative funding, and you have a few smaller ones in between. So you can see we got a bit of negative funding over there, and typically, give or take, timing wise, this is a pretty good zone to be reaccumulating into Bitcoin, anywhere between about $52,000 and up to that $60,000 region. Now, you have to DCA in if you're looking for the longer term play, because there's absolutely no guarantee that you will actually see price reach all the way down into that 52K level. So if you are waiting for something like that, and you're planning on loading your entire stack up in this region over here, and it doesn't come, but instead you see something like that, well, you are of course going to end up missing out. So I'll show you the status of the altcoin sector as well, because we use Bitcoin as our guide, right? We understand that, yes, Bitcoin in terms of number of X return, is it going to 2X, 3X, 4X from here, is limited in comparison to what the altcoins can do. But in order for the altcoins to flourish and succeed, we at least need stability in Bitcoin, right? We need to know that Bitcoin is slowly trending onwards and upwards like this, something like this, right? If Bitcoin is obviously going to roll over here like that, that's going to be pretty catastrophic for the altcoin market. So this is why we always do the Bitcoin analysis first. We also have to look at the stock market, which heavily affects cryptos. And you can see the stock market broke down from its key range level over here. It was forming a range, it broke down. Now watch for the rejection coming into the bottom side of that range, which now could be prior support flipped into resistance. So for the S&P 500, that level is going to be coming in at 5,175. There is a possibility that you may reject and then still put in the major bottom. If you see that from the stock market, expect that this will be Bitcoin at $52,000. So stock market rejecting here will mean Bitcoin is also going to reject from its very key level. You'll see the key levels on the daily time frame in just a moment, but that's what you're watching, right? If you look at the Nasdaq, same thing. Watch for the rally into this region. A rejection will lead to one more sweep towards the downside, creates a little bit of additional panic, at which point you might just see the fear and greed reach all the way back down with the full reset into the 20 zone. So that's kind of what I'm paying attention to right now. This is resistance now until proven otherwise. If, of course, the Nasdaq can get and hold above specifically 433 points, that will be pretty positive, right? 433, hold above this level. Then you can say probably that was the dip. The dip is over and we're continuing onwards and upwards, but you need to wait for that to happen. If you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, same thing over here, coming into underside resistance. Be careful of the rejection from that zone. If you get it, we're looking down to the 200-day moving average, which is going to be providing support on all of these. Now, one thing that looks different in terms of the traditional markets, of course, highly tied to and correlated to crypto, is going to be Coinbase. And there's a specific fundamental reason for why. First, technical analysis wise, you can see it is holding the range level. So it's yet to break down its range in the same way that the stock markets have. Pay attention to this zone. Stops would now be underneath here. So underneath at about the $200 level. If you lose the $200 level, then you can expect probably a full reversion back to the 200-day moving average, which will be at $134 for Coinbase. For now, give the bulls the benefit of the doubt on Coinbase. And the reason why is because we're just a couple of days away from the Coinbase Q1 earnings. And anyone who's been tracking this closely will know that they should be absolutely blowing it out of the water with massive results over here. So the market's forward looking, and what Coinbase shares in Q2 guidance shows will be the key, right? So based on all the results over here, this is why technical analysis wise, it's holding up. It's looking good. It looks like their revenue has increased massively. The base chain that they launched has also had massive activity on chain, and consequently every metric that you can look at for Coinbase is looking very, very positive. And consequently, that's why you give the bulls the edge over here, saying that this should hold as a range level. And remember, ranges continue to range until you break out of the top side. If you do break and hold above 285, then you can finally reach our longer term target, which is 354 for Coinbase. So moving on. That is Coinbase over there. Here is Bitcoin high time frame. Now, as I mentioned, if the stock market rejects, it could bring Bitcoin down in the short term. That will allow for the stochastic RSIs to fully reset. Currently, the momentum is shifted to the downside and continues to trend down until such time as the stochastic RSI turns back up. So you can see over here, I've marked off the key range levels. The orange line marks off the high time frame range high. Then you have your mid level over here. This is a worst case scenario. I'll make it nice and big. Your worst case scenario, if the sell-off were to continue, would be $48,000. So be mentally prepared to allocate into Bitcoin all the way down to that $48,000 level, that being the mid-range. You can see we do have a lower time frame range as well at the top. I'll zoom into that in just a moment, but this is what I'm watching. For now, the trend is up. You have high highs and high lows. You have a consolidation at the all-time highs. You have your 𝗕𝗘𝗎𝗢, which is a stop and reversal indicator, the little asterisk sign over here, which is continuing towards the upside. I would only start to worry if that does break, right? And again, if you reach the worst case scenario, which is down to 48K, that would mean a break of that. So how can you play this? How can you play the overall high time frame trend? Firstly, just go back onto this over here. Let's mark off the orange. This is how you play it. There you go. The orange line is your range high. So that's coming in pretty much a key at the current levels, $65,830. What you can then do is go into a daily time frame to just get a more clean analysis of the current range where price action is trading as it currently stands. And that's going to be your green zones over here. So how do you know that you're actually deviating the top of the range and breaking down and opening up the possibility of coming all the way into the 48K level, meaning you have this full deviation? Well, you need to see acceptance underneath the green zone, which would be under $60,000. So you can see over here as it currently stands, you're still chopping within the green zones, right? So there, range high, range low, and then the major range high in the weekly time frame just so happens to line up approximately with the mid-range of Bitcoin's current price action on the daily. So when you see price action come down here one more time, if you gain acceptance underneath this level at $61,000, then expect you are probably going to sweep all the way down. So it's always a toss-up of whether the market is ranging or trending because it depends on the time frame that you're looking at. So I just want to make that very clear. High time frame weekly trends are still towards the upside, but there is a possibility that if the daily shifts into a downtrend over here and loses this green zone, then ultimately you are going to see the weekly move from a strong uptrend into a now ranging market. Okay. Now that we've got that out the way, let's have a look at the Banter bubbles. I saw there were some big moves over here from HBAR. Let's quickly see what does the weekly chart look like on HBAR. Pretty significant, right? What was once a terrible chart suddenly just turned massively towards the upside. Remember with Banter bubbles, if you do want to find out why, you can always just click on this. You can go to community over here, and as long as you signed in, which you should be because you are mining the airdrop, you can chat with the community over here and find out exactly what is going on. Fundamentally, why is this coin running? So I don't have the time to go look through this now on a live show, but go and have a look at that. Speaking of which, the airdrop farmer is continuing to tick on. In case you guys haven't heard, 30% of all the GUMMY tokens were reserved for an airdrop. We already airdropped 10%. The other 20% is still to come. So therefore, you're still incentivized over here to continue to stay on Banter bubbles and mine that airdrop, which is crazy, right? Look at this. Look at this. This is someone sent this in one of our groups. This is the extent to which some people are airdrop farming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different browsers and accounts which are currently airdropping. All of them are different, right? If you zoom in over there, look at that profile. If you zoom in on this one over here, they're all different profiles over here. Airdrop farming for the GUMMY token, which is obviously now valued a lot higher than when the first airdrop came, which means you should get significantly more of that token. So have fun doing that, guys. Remember, there is a couple of ways you can get involved. Number one, if you go into the description below, you'll see over there, you can sign up and deposit to any one of these exchange partners, Bybit, Evo, or Blowfin. That will allocate you an airdrop. If you've signed up and made a small deposit, I think it's $100 onto any of those exchanges. When the next airdrop comes, they'll airdrop into that account on the exchange that you deposited into. So cool. Let's move on. Let's have a look over here at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, and just to see where exactly the 21 exponential moving average lines up. So it's currently pushing up towards that $59,000. Hence, I said if you do lose that level, you've created a full-on deviation, and now the trend has a chance of shifting to the downside on the weekly. Currently, it is still up, but the clock is ticking, right? The clock is ticking, the historical clock. We often look at previous price action. It's not an indicator of what's going to come in the future for trading, but it often does rhyme. And if you look at Don Crypto Trades, he says we've now been consolidating around that previous all-time high for exactly 7 weeks. In 2017, that consolidation took 3 weeks, and then we went into a complete up-only phase. By the way, if we do follow this trajectory, this would mean that it is going to, after all, be a left translated cycle. So watch for the breakout. If we do start to break out soon, it will be a left translated cycle. In 2013, here's 2013, it took 8 weeks, and here's 2017, it took 3 weeks. So with 7 weeks in, will history repeat? Will it be within the next couple of weeks that we start breaking towards the upside? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to know if you think that we're going to have a left translated cycle or not. The only way we won't have a left translated cycle, of course, is if we do put in a longer term consolidation and pullback, and then we can start to rally in Q3, Q4 later on this year. So you can see over here, if you look at the super guppy indicator, of course, this governs the overall trend. We were in a strong daily uptrend. We then consolidated temporarily to only put in another strong uptrend. Now, these typically move in phases of 3. So I would like to believe that after this range is formed, we're not going to shift into a downtrend, but have one more expansion towards the upside. Elliott wave traders would view it like this. If we quickly pull out this over here, Elliott wave traders would view it as, right, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, which is a short correction, and then leading into the final aggressive blow off top peak of wave 5. So think of it like that. You go through expansion, contraction. So this is wave 1, contraction, wave 2, expansion, wave 3, contraction, wave 4, and then we still potentially have one more wave towards the upside. Now, just a couple of minutes ago when Bitcoin was trading a few dollars higher, the super guppy indicator was attempting to turn green once again. So that's why it could be moments away. Bulls need to just clear some significant levels. As it currently stands, the Renko chart has everything towards the downside yet to turn green, right? So if you're only looking at one chart and you just want to trade this, wait for it to turn green before going long. When it's red, which we already identified a couple of weeks ago, you want to be out of the market. Summers. This is a pretty interesting indication of Bitcoin price since pretty much 2014. There's 10 different iterations over here, so 10 different data points that we can look at. And ultimately what we've noticed is that every single summer, Bitcoin tends to consolidate. So the consolidation may go on for much longer than many of you think, right? And following that consolidation, we should put in the wave 5 of the Elliott wave, which is constant up only for the final blow of peak. Okay, looking over here at the ADX, you can see the ADX is also suggesting that that consolidation will continue to remain. We're still waiting for the DI positive, which is the green line, to turn back up and then to see some real momentum come back into the market. And you can look at any of the prior consolidations. It takes quite a bit of time, right? We've only just started this consolidation. Look at the long-term consolidation over here before leading into the big aggressive moves up. Again, another longer-term consolidation, big aggressive move up. We've only just started this consolidation, so it can take longer than you may imagine, right? Looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, as it currently stands, this was the pink box zone that we highlighted a few weeks back, and we said this was going to be the level of resistance. This is the key level. This is really the zone that must be cleared by bulls. As soon as we start to clear this zone, everything will begin to change. The bullish sentiment will come back very, very quickly. The RSI is attempting to break out over here, so breaking the downsloping trend line. We are above the pivot level, the 200 EMA on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame, as well as the 9 and the 18 exponential moving average, which is on the daily time frame. But At the moment, it's a ranging market, right? So that's not that important yet. That only becomes very, very relevant if we gain acceptance above the mid-level, which is the $67,500 zone. So you need to see bulls hold this. If bulls can hold this consistently for a number of days above this level, then there will be a chance to break out, and real confirmation of a proper expansion towards the upside will come once you clear $73,000. My base case is this. This is my base case, guys. I'm being honest with you, being real with you. This was my base case. I always said we're going to sweep one side or the other side. And then, so you're going to do that or you're going to do that. It turns out that we swept the bottom before the top. Now I expect that we'll probably just push up, sweep the top, deviate back inside, and we'll continue to range. So the next move down, I'm hoping we'll find support over here somewhere around the mid-range. So we sweep 73. This is my base case, sweep 73. Come back down to probably about 65, 66. Hold that level and then continue up. Meaning that in accordance with this tweet, the summers are boring. The summers are a ranging market, and it'll probably continue to do that, right? Okay, now that we have that out the way, I also thought you may as well sharpen your tools. We have a couple of days left. Okay, this says 0, but I think it's just not refreshed over here. We start on the 1st of May, so it's 6 days left. You have 6 days to sign up to Whale School. Whale School is back. I think this is now our 4th cohort. Many of you have had much success from it, so major, major congratulations if you have joined. If you want to part that gift onto someone else, share the link with them so that they can also join Whale School. This will really help to get you up to scratch. In Whale School, I teach ranges, trends, different trading strategies, how to view the market from an investor perspective. There's a whole lot. Yes, Ran. Good morning. Okay, he's on a call. He's not going to join us today. All right, so there it is. That's Whale School. Make sure you sign up. There's limited spots, guys, right? This is valued at $3,000, but due to the exchange partners, which are all listed on the bottom, they're sponsoring you for the course, and consequently, you don't have to pay the $3,000. You can join for free. All right. Let's have a look over here at what's happening with the spot and the leverage. You can see in accordance with price, boring, choppy, funding rates or open interest has completely reset, which is a good sign. We're just waiting for someone to make a decision over here, whether it's bulls or bears. Again, same as the daily range. We are coming into resistance over here. This is a big zone which must be cleared. All right. BWB airdrop, quick mention over there. During the boring times, I always encourage you to, do things that can earn you a bit of additional capital without doing too much heavy lifting or moving things around. All you have to do is sign up to BitGet, put in your EVM compatible address. So that can be a MetaMask, it can be a Phantom wallet from Solana, any of those. Claim your points. You have 4 days left, guys. You have 4 days. These are often valued in the hundreds of dollars, these airdrop points, depending on how much they drop you, valued in the region of hundreds of dollars. It's free money. I know some of you are very high net worth traders, so for you, it might not even be worth your time. But for many, many people out there, if you can claim $100, we've seen that the interest on, of course, the GUMMY airdrop farming and how many people are putting out 5, 6 different devices. So for those types of people, this is really worth your while. Claim the points. Feel free, sell it on the open market if you want. It's all in the link in the description. All right. Bitcoin dominance over here, very, very significant because we still have bearish divergence, right? We have a lower RSI. This is only 2 data points, though. I often prefer it if there's 3. So if we could get one more spike up in the Bitcoin dominance, that would be ideal if I saw something like this. So Bitcoin dominance, let's just quickly grab that pen again. There we go. If I saw something like this, one more push up into the 60% region, whilst this RSI comes down, putting in triple bearish divergence, that would be a very, very strong signal for me that now I'm finally willing to rotate out of some of my Bitcoin into altcoins. As it currently stands, my initial entries from I bought a little bit of Bitcoin at 16,100. My main entry is 17,200, and then another big portion at $19,200. That I'm still holding every single coin. I haven't sold any for USDT, and I haven't swapped any out or traded any out into altcoins. This would be the first point where I would really consider to do that. So pay attention to this. Pay attention to the RSI. If the bearish bearish divergence plays out, we're also in a rising wedge formation over here, which will hopefully lead to then a later stage of breakdown. And then we see that real alt season taking place, which we know is where the real money is made. So speaking of total 3, which is of course denoting what's going on in that altcoin sector, we are still range bound. We're in an uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows, bouncing perfectly off the mid-range over here at $556 billion and holding the upsloping trend line. This is what I outlined when I was still in Dubai last week. I said I'm looking for a move back into the yellow zone. This is where bulls regain strength in the altcoin sector. If they can consolidate in the yellow zone for a number of weeks, ultimately you could lead to a very, very big breakout later on this year, maybe in the end of Q2, beginning of Q3, and that's where the big moves take place. So you want to start paying attention to altcoins which could make you big money. Now, there's a bunch of them that I'm looking at. I like to try get into things early before the masses are speaking about them. So one of the things that I've been looking at is linear, right? Linear chain over here, and most people don't even know linear chain. Of course, pretty cheap transactions. If you look at 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗕, you can see the TVL has been increasing very steadily. But even at current TVL levels, this is still 257 million USD, very low compared to what you see out there, meaning it's still relatively early when it comes to linear chain. Now, ultimately, in order to get exposure to linear, because there's no token, you need to speculate on other tokens which are listed on the chain. And if you want the highest beta plays, oftentimes you look towards the meme coins. We've spoken about this before. For example, had you bought WIF when Solana was bottoming out, you would have outperformed Solana by probably thousands of X return versus having just bought and held Solana. So the same is going to be true on linear, as it has been as well with any of the other chains, right? If you bought PEPE, you outperformed ETH. Most things outperformed ETH, but you get my drift, right? If you look at Nick, he says over here, okay, real talk, bros. If you don't spend the next 6 months playing around in the linear build ecosystem, then you're going to fumble a massive bag over here. It's been backed by consensus. And he says over here, my first big exposure is to the FOXY meme coin, which is essentially the official mascot of MetaMask, right? Because it's a fox, and MetaMask we know is also a fox. So this is pure speculation. Maybe there will be some sort of an airdrop in the future from MetaMask, which anyone that's holding FOXY will also receive. So pay attention to those things. It says, I'm going to start spending a significant amount more time being a linear enjoyer by bridging ETH and being early. So this is similar to bridging ETH to base chain and speculating on base chain. We saw base chain has exploded, and a lot of the tokens on base chain have done very well, like Brett, right? People, you can't buy the base token because there isn't a base token, so you bought Brett. What did Brett do? Thousands of X return, right? Huge returns. Now you have the same opportunity, which only launched just a couple of days ago, right? What was this, around the 14th? No, this was, the 14th of April. So very early, only about 2 weeks ago. And that is FOXY. So if you look over here, is there a linear token? Again, just to give you proof, there is no mention of a linear token yet. But ultimately, the best way to get exposure is to the ecosystem token. So here is the FOXY token. Currently, it's respecting this range beautifully. You can see it deviated the 0.012 level, reclaimed, and then started to establish a bit of an uptrend. So you have an upsloping trend line, you've broken above the mid-range level, and you have a series of high highs and high lows. I like this. I like this for an entry into the zone. Now, full disclosure, I already have my bag of FOXY. I've already made my buys. I'm in. I'm fully in. I'm not really going to be allocating anymore because I have enough exposure into FOXY. But if you do not have exposure, this would be a logical place where you'd be looking for a potential bounce from the buy zone, which is just above the wick that's occurred right now at 0.016, right? 0.016. As soon as you can see price break and hold above 0.022 and consolidate there, that will be the breakout above the range level, and then you'll be looking for further expansion, right? Towards the upside. Another one that I'm looking at is 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. Now, of course, I've got 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓, however you want to pronounce it. They've recently got a MEXC listing, which is good news, right? Makes it easier for other people who don't want to spend exorbitant amounts on gas fees on ETH. Gives them the opportunity to obviously get into 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. This is Vitalik's cat, literally says it, Vitalik's family cat. So there it is. That's been listed on Mexi. Here's the chart. So of course, it went through a big move. Everyone in the community got in down here at 0.0024. So a long time ago. Even current levels, this is up 7x. At one point, you guys went up as high as 3,278% returns, which is absolutely massive. Again, meme coins often respect these levels. You had a beautiful range. You've gone through the little depression phase. Remember, meme coins follow the overall market cycle that Bitcoin does, the 4-year cycle, the Wall Street cheat sheet where you go through the different phases of optimism, belief, hope, euphoria, thrill, all of that, back into fear, depression, panic, all of those different phases. It does that, but not over 4 years. It literally does it in a matter of 4 to 5 weeks sometimes. It's very quick. So you went through it all. Hope, optimism, euphoria, thrill, blow off top, comes back down, starts to panic, sets in a complacency bounce over here, goes into depression, and now it's looking like the depression phase is ending and it's reaccumulating. So it's getting back above that key range low. As long as it can hold above this level, that's a very positive sign. Then they can start to target up to 0.04229. And when retail return and ETH season eventually happens, I don't know when, but eventually ETH season will happen, then you can expect, again, ETH, which is, of course, Vitalik's cat on ETH, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗢, will be one of the top performers. The meme coins always outperform. Now, I wanted to reserve a section of the show for the rest of you who are not into meme coins, because I know there's a lot of you out there that just don't get it and you want to play things with fundamental reasons, or long things with fundamental reasons. So this was a great tweet thread, pretty much looking at AI and blockchain projects and trying to find the overlay of ones that are AI and blockchain and pretty strong. So I've only charted the ones in the S tier. So 𝗕𝗘, Render, Akash, and Fetch AI. So if you were looking for an entry into these tokens, here's the chart. This is what the charts look like. 𝗕𝗘 is coming into a very good level right now. So around this $400 level, if you continue with this downtrend, lower lows and lower highs, this is going to be the next obvious zone where you're looking for an entry. Watch for some sort of a reaction into this upsloping trend line, which just so happens to line up between $380 and $400. That's your zone. So about another $95 down. Be patient. Wait for price to come to your entry. I would layer some bids over there if you have no exposure to 𝗕𝗘. That is a decent zone, right? Very decent zone over there. If you look at Render's been one of the top performing coins, not only against USD, but also against BTC. It's been high highs and high lows. It's been parabolic very early. I've marked out the clear range levels over here. You want to see price respect the 0.5 fib retracement level, which it currently has. That came in at $6.97. So rounded up at about $7. That is a significant zone to hold. If you do get one more sweep towards the downside, I would only want to see price come into the $4 zone in the yellow box here as a wick. You don't want to see it spend time there. As long as it holds though above this consolidation, which led into the big move towards the upside, that would be still considered a relatively strong token, which would be good for the longer term hold. So mark off the zones. This is not a buy over here at $9.12. I would wait patiently. See if you can get a wick down into the $4 to $5 zone. So into the yellow box, and get a limit order bid in there. If you can limit buy some of it, it should at the very least lead to a big reaction or bounce off of there, at which point you can elevate or raise your stop loss into slight profit or break even. And if it goes, it goes. If it stops out, well, ultimately you took a very low risk trade, right? Because something that moves parabolic like this, when it comes down, it usually doesn't just stop and then continue to bleed out, right? It usually hits the level, bounces aggressively off, and then you can reevaluate from that point. So that is Render. Let's go on to the next one, Akash. You can see Akash has been forming a parabolic trend towards the upside, high highs and high lows, very strong. Yes, of course, as the move gets more and more aggressive, the sell-offs also become pretty aggressive. Sadly, I didn't pick this one up in time for you guys. This would have been the absolute buy zone over here, coming into the strong horizontal at $3.20. That wick over there would have been the fill. All you can do for now is wait to see if you come back down one more time to retest that area at about $3. Your stop would now go below the recent wick that occurred, and that would be the entry. So over there, stop would go below this zone over there, and then you can have a chance to get into a cash. If it starts to break the parabola down, then expect a new range to form, at which point every time it hits the bottom of that range, which is the same zone around that $3 level, that's going to be your chance to get in. FETCH.AI is the other one, right? Every little consolidation on FETCH.AI has led to pretty substantial moves. It is respecting and holding into this parallel upsloping trend line over here. So this is the outlook that I have right now. This little consolidation's already started to move. You need to break above not only the parallel upsloping mid-range, which is that line, the dash line over there, but if you draw in a horizontal over here, that's also going to be horizontal resistance. If you can break and hold above that and get into the $3 zone, then the strong uptrending move is likely to continue, and then you can target $4. If you reject from that underside resistance, which based on what Bitcoin is doing now is still more probable because Bitcoin's coming into strong resistance, then you might get one more chance to pick it up over here at $2. If you pick it up at $2, stops go below this wick, which would be just below $1.50. Okay, Solana, we've been verbally loud and long about this ever since this week over here, which occurred at about 116. We picked up our longs at $125 on the show. So we're continuing to hold. This is coming into the area of interest now. We have to be careful as price moves into this zone over here. Same as Bitcoin coming into the 66,700 region. That could provide underside resistance, right? So be very, very careful. That could provide underside resistance. But if you can break above, like I've drawn with the LARP lines over here, expect a very quick and aggressive move all the way up to $204. I don't think you break 204. I think that's a guaranteed rejection, and I'll take profit at 204 and then reallocate again at about 160. So to give you the distances between those ranges, that is about a 20% move, right? So between the mid-range and the range high, bottom to top or top to bottom is 20%. It's pretty substantial, right? All right. Otherwise, we still have our entries. We well in the profit. You can move your stops into break even or slight profit. Your choice. For now, I'm continuing to hold. I'll give it a little bit of a chance. I want to see what happens with the stock market open today. The stock market is very, very significant. As I showed you, it's also coming into what's potential underside resistance. If I see any sign of the stock market rejecting, I'll consider cutting these positions, right? So that's what I'm looking at there. Please drop your altcoin requests. We have a bit of time. So drop your altcoin requests. Smash the like button as well. It really helps to get the show content out there. Almost 3,000 of you live, but only 700 likes, guys. Please do me a favor. Smash the like button. While I wait for your requests to come through, I am looking at the chat over here. I see the 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗢𝗢, Cat Trump. I see like Algo, HBAR, which we know pumped. I'll have a look at those. Please continue to drop those in the comment section, and then I'll just cover one or two more things. So Volument, if you are looking for an AI automated market making service, and you're an well, you don't have to be an exchange, but maybe a project, and you want ultimately to paint a chart, or you want to do something like that, provide liquidity on the other side, check out Volument. For the rest of you though, check out MintSwap. The link is in the description below. The fees are drastically cheaper than what you're getting on ETH. So you're welcome to swap over there from ETH to USDT or vice versa. Go and have a look. The fees that they're providing are about 70% less. All the links are in the description below. So that is Volument with MintSwap and then their normal Volument platform. Of course, they are one of our sponsors, but we chose to partner with them due to their fees. Cool, guys. Let's go into some of your charts. Okay, let's go HBAR because, of course, it's been a pretty hot topic. HBAR, let's see. All right, here is HBAR. I haven't charted this one for a very long time. This was a big wipeout over here. That must have been pretty sad, right? Imagine you got washed out of your trade over here, and that follows on immediately. What was that move? This gave a, wow, massive 161% move. Okay, of course, I wouldn't long here. There's absolutely no chance I would long this right here. Let's just quickly chuck this in. Okay, I'm just quickly marking off some levels over here. Okay, I would watch to see what happens over here. This is going to be your zones that you want to watch. I think that it's not out of the question that this will come all the way back down into this region in the yellow box. So HBAR all the way back down to about 11 cents. Following a big pump like this, big inefficiency in the market, you often get a huge retrace. So watch for the retrace now. You definitely want to see it hold at about just below 11 cents. So 10.95. That's the zone. I see Jake's asking, so what to do with HBAR? Nothing. I mean, if you played this move over here, I mean, I would have taken profit for sure, but it depends if you're on leverage or not. You can see the parallel channel towards the upside. That would still be considered a deviation, right? So you've deviated back into that channel over there, and then you're also focusing on the horizontals, which lines up with the mid-range. So that's why I say at the very, very least, you're probably coming down towards that 11 cents. Okay, let's have a look at RUNE, because I know a lot of people are excited about RUNE, probably because I think Run also mentioned something yesterday on his show about RUNE. So we'll go to RUNE. Okay, let's go to RUNE. Okay, so that's the RUNE chart at the moment. It is currently in a range. This was the big deviation down. We said this is where our level of interest would be. We want to see what happens over here as it comes into the zone. You could see the way that the candle closed, that it was going to go down. It swept, or it didn't sweep. It got almost to the bottom over here. This would be the ideal entry, is if you see a sweep, which is still a possibility. If you see RUNE roll over here, expect you are going to get a sweep. That will be the big buying opportunity as you go below that $3.80 level. So you need to stagger your orders between about $3 and $3.80. Watch for the deviation, the reclaim of the range. That's the long opportunity. That would be TP1 on a short time frame trade, TP2 on a longer time frame trade, or if you're an investor, you want to see it reclaim, hold, and continue onwards and upwards. So that's it. You had the big deviation over there. You're now waiting to sweep the other side of the range. But currently it is above mid-range, right? So currently it's above mid-range. It might do this first. It might do this first, and then only later you get something like that. Okay, that's what I'm watching over there. In terms of trend, though, let's just see theoretically. I mean, look, you wanted to see this level hold. I would say that this is more shifting the trend from what was an uptrend into a range. Previously, you had high highs and high lows, and ultimately you wanted to see that level hold. That didn't hold. You created a lower low. So you're shifting from an uptrend into a ranging market. Same as Bitcoin, right? Same as Bitcoin. Okay, NEAR. Let's actually look at Injective quickly, and then I'll go to NEAR. Okay, Injective also sweeping below this level. Very, very important that Injective holds up over here. If Injective starts to reject, so for Injective, failure to get above this zone over here, will be pretty catastrophic. And I would say that Injective will probably then come all the way back down to about 14, possibly even down to 9. So this is not good that it spent this much time over here. If it came here, you wanted to see an immediate quick reaction. This should have just been a wick and immediate reclaim. You've already spent many, many, many days below this level, which now increases the risk and the probability of this happening. Okay, I'm just being real, guys. I mean, I was at one point I was long on Injective as well. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not too emotional with any of these cryptos. I just say it as it is. Okay, let's see. Okay, NEAR. Look, it's similar to Injective in that regard. You spent a lot of time over here, but this was support, strong support at $5. You hit the bottom of the range, you bounce up over here. This is your zone to clear. You need to see NEAR get above $7.40. Just round it up, say $7.50. If NEAR can start to close daily candles above $7.50, that will be good. But if you start to see weakness today, what is this? Lower highs, and ultimately you're going to expect another full round trip down into the bottom of the $5 region, at which point you better hope that there is support over there. Okay, what else? PEPE. Let's have a look at PEPE, since the meme coin narrative has, I would say, died down a little bit. Has the chart died down though? Also, a lot of these look similar to Injective, right? Big swing lows towards the downside. And this is where you really need to be careful. We need to see price continue up here. Failure to do that would mean that you are going to probably create a lot more panic in the market, come all the way down, and then it's a possibility you come into 1890 as the last 4 digits. Okay, let's have a look at GUMMY. I see, of course, why didn't I not mention GUMMY? Let's have a look. I'll give you my honest analysis. So it's very, very hard to chart something this new, but let's give it a go. Okay, I mean, for now, this was a strong uptrend, big move towards the upside over here. Let's go lower time frame. Maybe we get a bit more of a clean chart. There we go. Okay, that's a zone to hold. So for GUMMY, that is the zone to hold. 1446, 1446. Again, being real with you guys, if you do start to gain acceptance below 1446 like that, then of course you're going to start to distribute, and who knows, maybe it'll come all the way down like that. That's a real possibility. But if it can hold this and respect this range level, so this would be the range. Okay, if it can respect this range level over here and start to break and hold above 20 cents, then maybe you're going for the next leg up, right? So at the moment, how do you play it? Well, if you have no exposure, you are, of course, looking to buy positions over here at the range low and take profit at the range high. Unless it gains acceptance above the range high, holds there, then maybe you're going for the next leg up, the next leg of expansion, right? So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. Remember, the market moves through those different phases. What else? Let's have a look over here at PEPECOIN. Just go on to a higher time frame. This is the real PEPECOIN. I'm interested in getting a position. I'm also just worried that it might be going through a distribution phase over here. If it does, you have a massive fair value gap. So if you're looking for exposure on PEPECOIN, you have a massive fair value gap over here. There you go, between 250 and 350. You're looking for price to come into that purple zone, and that's your entry. And then let's go to BASE.AI, which is connected to PEPECOIN. They have some buyback burn mechanism. This would be the zones that I'm looking at, right? It's already starting to break that level down now, breaking the upsloping trend line. I would say very high probability you're going to see this come into the 375 region. All right, guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining. Let me know in the comment section what you want for tomorrow, which sector, which altcoins. I'll go and review those after the show, and then I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheers for now.